The issue is the Ember is just such in a rough spot, and you don't have a Keeper of the Light to play with. So you don't have yourself set up for the easiest time in escalating with, say, Sleight of Fist spam. You're going to have to find another way to get Gunner up and running quick here. Mid lane matchup is manageable for an Ember Spirit, but still puck favorite just by nature of how the hero works. You can at least block out some of that damage out with your shield. Undying, they just go back to the Ogre as well to keep buffing up the Troll, so... And you get some value here with Ogre Magi Grimstroke. It's something people underestimate, but Soulbind, you get a multicast in your stuns. That's not going to be fun to play into here.
No, it is not, John. Ballzoomers, 40 seconds reserve time left. Fourth pickup here. They could run the Pango 4 and go for another off-lane pick if they so wish. Could see the safe lane come out here for Sammy. They're going to have a really big think about it, though. They don't know what the opposing offlane is going to be yet either by Saberlight. They're going to go for the Wraith King, which is a fairly safe pickup. I think it's quite nice into the Troll as well, just having that secondary reincarnation life. How do you feel about it? Do you think this is the pick?
I think it has some downsides in this game. The Troll could, if you're worried about mana... Troll could easily build Diffusal. It's something like a SNY Diffusal Rush or Yasha Diffusal could work out here if you were worried about that second life. If you're not, then you can just go standard farming build. I don't think the late game matchup is too rough, although the Wraith King second life can be an issue as the game goes on.
Right.
There's some interesting spikes for Zoomers have to play around with. They need to push out with the Wraith King early on, but they also need to get some initial farm going here. What Sammy builds up into is going to be a big... thing to prioritize as well, whether or not it's the Radiance Rush or something like a Maelstrom Armlet coming out for the Wraith King dictates how that game goes. So we'll just have to see with how Zoomers drafts around are already kind of keeping themselves safe, taking out some offlaner matchups that they wouldn't want to deal with, take out the Tide. You can see Undying just taking care of some initial bursts and good control by taking out the Lion. So keeping their options open, trying to get the best out of each draft, and just setting themselves up. Wraith King, I think it's a better time for Sammy compared to that PA in Game 1. Not as many direct counters, so you should see that Wraith King have a little bit more impact in this game round.
When we saw the Lion being banned out, I was about to say the Shaman's still up. If you wanted to take the Shaman, I don't think it'd be too bad here for 4 Zoomers. The instant Hex into the puck, the Shackles can be quite nice. Even against the Troll, of course, it is quite a lot of value. I don't think... Oh, it's banned out. Never mind. Undying not giving the chance over. I was going to say the Serpent Wards on top of the Skeletons and the Enchantress Creep would also be really nice. Just allowing you to take over the map early on, but 4 Zoomers, they need to find another solution. We still don't know if this is going to be a 4 Pango or a 3 Pango. So that's still up for grabs here for 4 Zoomers. They can still flex that around. They've only got 17 seconds reserve time left to think about this. They won't need it either. They're going to go for the Enigma. So Eidolons are there. We know the hero scales better than pretty much any other hero because of Black Hole. A bit greedy, the Enigma, but we have been seeing it a lot. And it has been played a lot more selflessly these days as well. I mean, people these days even just skipping out on the blink, just not bothering with it, running it as a support. It still kind of works out if you can position yourself nicely and just go for a big black hole, maybe catch 2 or 3 people in it. It's always quite nice. See what kind of build-up they go for on this Enigma and whether they're going to put it in the position 3 role or the pos 4. But it is kind of looking like it might be a position 3 Enigma this game. Because what we've been seeing recently is a pos 5 Enigma coming out, but you're not going to run that while you've got an Enchantress. So I'm thinking it must be a position 3.
Pos 3 Enigma with a Pangolier 4 isn't too rough. I think I'd prefer Pangolier getting that initial farm, as the Enigma still kind of builds up regardless of pos 3 or pos 4 for it. So you want the Pango to take creep priority initially, and Undying, they have some great ways of dealing with all these lanes. Underlord comes out, you can hold your lane steady against a Wraith King. You've got a lot of durability that comes into play now for the side of Undying. You can keep your Troll alive, you can mitigate the damage out from the creeps as well. So there's a lot here that Undying can play with. They've got great wave clear to deal with the Skeletons and the Eidolons. with the Underlord, with a puck. Even the Troll can kind of deal with that for you, and even the Grimstroke. So the push for Zoomers has to be a bit cautious as they go into it. It is going to be the core Enigma, as you mentioned. Brax is playing that, and Ocean is in the Pango. So there's a little bit more activity here for Zoomers. They might just want to go for the Black Holes on even just one hero early on and try to build up their aggression, take some objectives early on, and try to enable Sam to go for whatever build he wants. Whether or not it's a Radiance or the Armlet or whatever else he might want here, you need that Raid King to be up and running a lot faster than the Troll. Undying, Tomato could just easily go for a Battle Fury build and try to take that slow game that is punishable by Zoomers. So Zoomers need to use that window if Tomato is going to go for a slower build-up and shut down the map before you can start farming up in the Troll.
Well, tell me which draft's better though, John. In your opinion, which draft looks more appealing to you? I mean, I'm personally leaning towards Undying again. I'm trying not to consider which teams they are with which drafts. I'm just trying to go purely off drafts. Undying just looks easier to execute, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100% it is. Like, you've got this Troll, much more stable farmer compared to the Raid King. The Raid King has to play with camps, play with skeleton summons, has to take tier 1 top or bot real quick, and transition to the jungle, which might be shared with Enigma, which might be shared with Gunner's Ember Spirit, depending on how the lane goes. So you've already got a bit of a crowded situation in that jungle. For Undying, it's a lot more straightforward. They've got some good combinations out. They've got Dream Coil plus Root from Saberlight, so you can keep people in the Pit of Malice a lot longer. You've got the Soulbind combination to stop the Pangolier from rolling in, and to get off those Fire Blasts. Like, again, it's not something a lot of people consider, but having the Soulbind and having multicast and a Fire Blast, that is not fun. Like, it's not fun for anyone to contend with. So we're going to have to see if that's going to cause some headaches in this game for Zoomers. And Sammy just asking for the Arcana build-up. Yep.
He's got 3 heroes he needs to harvest. So Grimstroke, Underlord, and Troll. I guess we'll try and keep track of it, John. See if he does get his harvest going. So the rest of the 4 Zoomers have smoked up as 4 heroes and just rush up towards the top lane. This time around, with the smoke, just making sure nobody sees the wards being placed in the mid lane, is now Undying. Smoked up as 5, gonna just sneak around into the triangle. We've seen this before from Undying, and it generally does pan out for them. Lines drawn out. Brax really doesn't want to die right now, but he might have no choice in the matter. They see him. The Stroke of Fate is there. The Fire Blast out, and Brax, he's not very tanky at level 1. They're trying to give the kill to Tomato, but it looks like no. Briar will take it on the puck instead. That's going to give him his Null Talisman and his new set of Tangos. It's going to make life a little bit harder for Gunner.
Yeah, and it just sets that matchup really well for Bryle. Of course, just having that early stat advantage can be make or break for the mid lane. So, you know, you're setting yourself up here really nicely for Undying. They do run away, so they're probably just going to lose that top rune. You do manage to steal one away with Saberlight, but they are going to start 3 for 1 in order to stabilize their lanes early on. So a bit of a boon there for Zoomers, getting at least some gold out of it early on, but they're going to have to watch themselves. There's still an early tri-lane start here from Undying. In fact, they're running an aggressive tri-lane here. Tomato is going to be on the off lane, so they're avoiding the Enigma lane so far. They are trying to shift Sammy up to the top lane, though, preempting that. So regardless, Tomato's going to have to deal with the denies coming through from the Enigma, and that should allow Zoomers to at least slow down Tomato just a little bit initially here.
Yeah, I like the fact that Zoomers are ensuring that the Enigma is up against the Troll, because you kind of chose this Enigma to make sure that Tomato doesn't have a great laning stage. So if Tomato just avoids him altogether, it kind of nullifies the whole point of the pick. Also, going to Brax, I wonder what kind of item build-up he goes for this game. I've been seeing a bit of Enigma Necro book. In fact, I say a bit, but I've been seeing a lot of it. I don't think it'd be too bad here either. Just being able to take early towers and take over the map might be quite a big advantage for 4 Zoomers if they can make that happen. Do you think Necro Book is the go here for Brax? And it probably is.
It's pretty much the go-to for every single Enigma we see. Necronomicon level 1, then going into something like Guardian Greaves, maybe a Blink or BKB, depending on what you need in the game. But you initially start with it. You see our Enigma's already kind of set with the 2 Sage Masks as well. So it should be a steady build-up for Brax. He's already getting some good denies out, so he's holding that lane steady. Tomato is finding the initial last hits, and Undying is still holding this tri-lane. So they figure if you want to try denying out the EXP, we're just going to constantly shove the wave back with Moon Meander around. We can try to get some harassment out with Dubu, and again, with the presence of these 2 supports, Husky cannot walk up and harass out Tomato. So despite all these denies, the Troll is still finding himself a lane to farm up here.
Yeah, this is going to be really annoying for Husky. This is your time to be strong as an Enchantress, and you're not really going to get that moment. Even Tomato now just trying to take those Eidolons away. So they have really just locked out this bot lane. So there is going to be a TP away now. Looks like they will take Moon Meander up towards the top lane instead. Of course, this Underlord might eventually need some help as Ocean continues to just disarm Saberline. Meanwhile, though, in the mid lane, Gunnar is also going to drop very low on the Ember. Looks like Braille has been having his way in the mid lane, John. Currently over double the last hits of Gunnar on the Ember. That is...
Yeah,
It's been a long time since I've seen someone destroying somebody else that much in the mid lane. I mean, that's a big difference.
The Ember is just really hard to run in lane. The uptime, if your wave clear, is not as good as a Puck's. The cooldown on Flame Guard is half a minute. So once you pop that and Puck burns it down, with the Orb, with the magic damage from the Waning Rift as well, you kind of have no options to play with, and it's just harder for Gunnar to hold that lane steady. He's at least finding something, so he's not completely shut out. But Brawl having this kind of early lead means he's going to hit this level 6 a bit faster, and once he hits that level 6 mark, you can easily look for a Dream Coil play. So you're going to have to watch yourself. You need to secure those power runes here to ensure Gunnar has that easy ramp up to recover. And we're going to have to see if Zoomers can get that going for him, as he needs every bit of help he can get from that mid.
I mean, that's guaranteed, right? The power runes are going to be extremely important with this mid lane matchup, and I mean, Gunnar needs it. There's no two ways about it. If Brawl gets that rune, it's going to be a disaster for 4 Zoomers. Depending on what it is, of course. And speaking of the rune, John, it's going to spawn up in about 8 seconds. For now, it's only Moon Meander showing up. In fact, there's Dubu. Nobody from 4 Zoomers is here.
Oh no.
Brawl gets a regen rune on top. I'm shocked by that. They do fill up Gunnar's bottle anyway, but it looks like they just did not want to contest. Which I suppose is fair enough considering both supports showed up from Undying, and it may have led to a kill. That's going to make Gunnar's life very hard.
Yeah, it makes it really difficult to just contest this lane. Brawl has a get out of jail card for free. Dubu makes a rotation in. That was under a ward, so Ocean's around to counteract.
Ocean will show up now. Brawl's almost at level 6. So he's just waiting for the next creep wave. Now Husky's going to show up. They're going to try and go onto the Ogre. Gunnar's not nearby to get the damage out though. Dubu's still running away, but there's a shockwave from that neutral creep, and eventually Dubu will die. They'll get the kill onto Gunnar. That'll help him catch up. It's a nice little rotation out from the supports of 4 Zoomers.
Yeah, they really needed that to happen. Not the biggest kill to take, it's just an Ogre Magi at the end, so you're not slowing down too much, but at least you're applying some pressure onto Brawl. He does manage to hit his level 6 now, though, so you have to worry about that Dream Coil. You have to worry about the movements of Brawl coming through here. You are still a ways away from it for Gunnar to hit his level 6 mark, so there's going to be more activity here from the Puck early on. It's a bit of a slower game. 1k lead, 1-1 for Undying, but that favors them so far. Sammy up top on the Raid King. He's only at 17 last hits. Compare that to Tomato at 34, and that's against the Enigma. You're still getting a ton of value out for Undying early on here.
Yeah, I mean, it's still not an easy lane, even up against the Underlord, of course, but this is going to be really problematic. Your mid and your safe lane, essentially, for 4 Zoomers has just not gone well at all.
Oh, Ocean.
Mid lane, coil out. Brawl going to make sure he gets a kill for himself on the Puck. As soon as he hits that level 6 mark, and of course now we'll start pressuring the tower with the siege creep. This is a very early bit of pressure, but we see this a lot from Dubu. Now usually he's not on the Ogre when he does this, but it may as well just be as good, because you have the Bloodlust, and as soon as that first siege creep is up, you can start pushing down this tier 1 tower like this. And Brawl's going to stick around. They're going to protect that siege creep. I think this tier 1 tower is dead.
Oh, no.
They're going to try and protect it, but Gunnar might die in the process. He's going to just try and run, but a DD rune up onto Brawl is going to make it very hard. They'll get him away. Gunnar needs to kill off the siege creep, but he can't get in range to it. And Brawl's just keeping it up by taking the aggro away, and they get it. The tier 1 tower is gone. That's perfect play from Undying, John.
Oh, it's just so well timed. They managed to get that DD to secure that as well, and Gunnar comes back in. He does have a 6.
He needs to do something here in this mid lane. Remnant back. Dubu's going to give him the fire blast. Ocean can't really help at the moment on this Pango, but he needs to stick around. Just in case. Meanwhile, top lane, Sammy is still struggling a lot. They might kill off Moon Meander here. Husky's making the chase, but Saberlight is there. They will get the kill. Now the Inkswell around. Husky might just die for his trouble, and does. Back into the mid lane, Gunnar. Can't even get close to the creeps at the moment. Brawl is just haunting him.
Yeah, it's a tough game for the Zoomers early on. Losing that mid just slows down the Ember's game, and he needs to play catch-up somehow. He doesn't have a very steady lane to hold. He could try making rotations, but you're talking about jumping a troll and jumping an Underlord. What here's are actually fairly tanky to kind of commit onto, especially considering how much Timato's been able to get off on his own lane. You still have these good timings coming out for Zoomers. They've got the Necronomicon one up on Brax. So they could maybe try to pressure the top lane if they want to rotate out, or even the bot lane if they wanted to, but you have to be a bit cautious here.
Ocean gonna get an Invis rune and walk away. Does spot out Tomato. Top lane, Saberlight. Pitamalis down, but he is surrounded by Gunnar and Sammy, and they do get another kill. Great rotation there from 4 Zoomers. Sammy's quite low, but it won't matter. He does have Reincarnation up. However, down in the mid lane, Moon Meander now going to be chased down. Ocean and Husky going to try and get another, and they will. Again, great news for 4 Zoomers. They're leaving me back in time to defend this tier 1 bottom tower.
Yeah, and they're setting up for a bit of a shove up top. You see Brax changing his lane with that Necronomicon, with the Skeletons, with the Eidolon. Should be really easy to melt. But Saberlight is here to try to clear out. Gets a deny off, so clear out some of that gold.
Ryle, Dream Coil going to be committed. They really want this Enigma. There's no mana for the Black Hole. He would love to have it right now. He will not get it. However, Gunnar, he kills off Ryle. Dark Rift away, Saberlight. He's going to try and get out, but the Remnants forward from Gunnar. He'll get a double. And he wants a triple too. Shockwave does connect onto Dubu. Husky doesn't have enchant, but it won't matter. There's your stun out, and a triple kill is there from Gunnar. He's making a comeback on this Ember, John, slowly but surely.
Yeah, really important kills to find along with that tower trade. Undying aren't able to clear out the bot, so you don't necessarily get a 1-for-1 in terms of towers here, which is good news for Zoomers. You're still a bit happier Undying, of course, because you took out the mid instead. The top lane's kind of dead.
Oh, Tomato,
right,
they've got Black Hole. They have Black Hole. They will commit it with the Midnight Pulse. Rolling Thunder is going to be there as well. Tomato not going to die. Doesn't have the Battle Trance leveled up yet. And Whirling Axes aren't going to help him that much. He'll die. That's a big one. A great setup there from Brax. Meanwhile, mid lane now. Brawl going to be chased down by Gunnar. They're out of mana on the Ember. Husky is around to help out. It won't be enough. But they are applying a hell of a lot of pressure, which is quite surprising considering their laning start. But I suppose that's the nature of their draft.
Yeah, you hit these leveled spikes, you can just start playing around, take some objectives, and start to apply some aggression. So they're finding some room to get that done. They're TPing down bot in force to kind of counter out this movement from Brawl. But
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the Black Hole. They're gonna have to just just spam the Midnight Pulse, maybe some Eidolons. There's your Necro creeps coming out as well, but they're gonna have to let this tier 1 bottom go, I think. On the brighter side, they already got the top tier 1. And during this time, they can start pressuring the mid tier 1 tower. Problem is they don't have any creeps in that mid lane, so no pressure is going to be applied. In fact, Undying now have smoked up as 3. Head over to the mid lane. Husky shows himself, so does Brax. Call is up on Brile. Orb forward. Dream Call is out. Saberlight even going to TP in, but Gunner's still around. To try and take down this Enigma. Soulbind out from Moon Meander, but now they're rolling Thunder. They don't have the damage. Sammy comes in. Brile's going to die in the puck. Moon Meander now. Roll in onto the Grimstroke. He should just die. In fact, they go into the back lines as well. Gunner wants Saberlight and might just get him. In fact, he does. But now Tomato's going to show up on the troll. No ensnares, but it won't matter. They get the kill. It's still a 1-for-3 trade, however. You'd have to say that does heavily favor 4 Zoomers.
Yeah, they get a lot more value from that rotation out. Undying, forcing the issue without enough damage in the tank, just costing them. You're starting to fall behind a bit on that puck. I think Brile really needs that Witchblade up to keep applying that damage, keep applying the aggression out. The sustain from Zoomers, the durability of their heroes are a bit much at this point, so have to watch out for that. They are still getting a lot of space out for Tomato. His Battle Fury's pretty much done here, flying out, and he's going to go into the Yasha build and try to escalate now. You do have this Midas build-up for Sam, and he's going to try to rush his Radiant. So far, it is paying off. He hasn't died once. Undying has not been able to lock in that Wraith King, so Undying just letting that Skeleton King really farm up here, and Zoomers are just benefiting from it. Gunner is just allowed to go around the map. He's rushing an early BKB. And once you have that up, it's not like you're going to have the puck ags early on, so there's going to be a big window where Gunner can just jump in, not a care in the world, and get the damage he wants, get the control off, and keep buying that space out for the Wraith King to grow bigger.
I mean, if they allow the grade, Sammy's going to take advantage of it. Looks like Undying kind of agreed with themselves to just hold back for a bit, wait for that Witch's Blade to be up on Brile before they get moving again. Can't say the same for 4 Zoomers, however. Gunner and Ocean right into that mid lane onto Moon Meander, but they got the silence and the stun out. The Soulbind even. Have they gone too far? No, I don't think they have. Undying, they don't have the damage output. Gunner's going to turn back around. They'll try to take down Husky, and they will. Ocean's going to try and run. Swashbuckle off cooldown in a couple seconds, but the root is in place. They get the kill. A 2-for-0 trade. So this time Undying does manage to turn it back around, and I mean, it was quite close, but the turnaround for Moon Meander was quite enough. In fact, they go onto Gunner now. The silence is not going to last long enough, but they do get the rune they wanted. Nice regen rune there on Brile. That'll be it.
That's a pretty good set of pickups for Undying, just counteracting that aggression, still saving their mid-tier 1 in the process. They're holding on to that key objective to allow some farm space out for Tomato, and it's working out quite nicely. Tomato's also saving up for a BKB, so we're going to see some early BKBs on a couple of key cores. Once you have this BKB up in Troll, you only really worry about the black hole, and you kind of have the puck to deal with that with Dream Coil, so it's down to spell use here for the side of Undying and counteracting that. Still, Zoomer's not going to be dissuaded. Keep shoving in mid. With Saberlight around, this process is not that easy. Max level Firestorm can just melt the creep waves and the summons. They're going to have to temper back the aggression just a bit, as they are really committing a lot here to save that mid from Undying.
Gunner, Dream Coil outs, silence as well. They have the Ink Swell. He breaks the coil, but he's going to die before the stun wears off. That's a big pick off. 2k net worth lead still stands for Undying. It's like Brax, he had the black hole, but he's waiting to pick up that Aether Lens, I believe it is. In fact, I believe he has all the components now. He just needs to bring it out on the courier. And it gets killed off mid lane. Saberlight takes out the Aether Lens.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate for Brax. He's not going to be able to get in a good range to cast the spells. Just having to be a lot closer for the black hole can hurt you. You want as much range as possible to maybe catch out the puck. They are TPing in, though.
Can they make something happen? Saberlight, bit of Malice, Brax. It's going to take a fair bit of damage. He's not quite going to die. They go onto the Troll instead. Now, that's a big pickup. He doesn't have Battle Trance, so he's a bit of a sitting duck here. Gunner, Soulbind out. It does connect on another. Inkswell won't really matter. Moon's going to try and run. Chains out, not going to land either. Dubu dies meanwhile on the other side of the map. Saberlight, he's just going to pop the Dark Rift. Not risking his own life. Brings Moon Meander with him.
Yeah, it's a good avoidance there from Undying. Also managing to save out Tomato is big. They did lose Dubu elsewhere, but not the biggest loss, losing out on your Ogre Magi. They're going to look to reposition. They've still got this Invis on Brawl, but he's under a sentry.
Well, they only Dreamcoil one at least. Now they'll realize he had supports around, so Gunner's going to be just fine. Interesting from Gunner as well, John. Straight BKB rush, it seems, after the Mithril Hammer. He's not going back for the Maelstrom.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think he realizes, again, once you take out the silences, once you take out the roots and control, it's a pretty good Ember game to just run around early. You can really melt down some of that backline. So having that early BKB can set you up. They have to watch the smoke rotation here, though.
That they do. Gunner, he's actually going to break the smoke with that Sleight of Fist. Remnant out. Still Ocean. No, they want Brax. They want the Enigma dead. Silence out. Brax cannot get Black Hole in time. Even an Inkswell now onto Gunner. He has no Remnants left. He's still going to stick around for now. Sammy shows himself on the Wraith King. He has the Radiance up now. Feeling strong, he might be able to fight with his team. He does at least make sure that Undying can't go any further, but now they're going to loop back around. Sammy, he's stuck around for that farm. They will chase him down. He does have Reincarnation up, but he's going to lose his first life. Can they protect the Wraith King? Tomato, Battle Trance immediately onto that Wraith King, and now onto Gunner. They're going to find two cores for their trouble. A great Soulbind and Silence out from Moon Meander. And now for Zoomers, all they can do is run. I thought they might be a little bit stronger with that Radiance pickup, but it's just not the case.
They do have at least Brax back up, and he's looking to play with a Black Hole. He's got the Aether Lens up, so he can get himself in a really good angle to defend, and he might look for a counterplay here.
Yeah, but Moon's waiting out of range with the Silence. Dubu gonna probably just die to the units. He actually does get himself out, very nice. And they just TP away. No wasting time. Right out of there. And I like the fact that Brax has queued up that BKB now on the Enigma. It's just not one of those free games for the Black Hole. You are going to need that magic immunity. It should pay off quite nicely once he does have it up.
Yeah, he just needs to get that up and running ASAP, especially while you don't have to worry about a Puck Ags here for Brawl. It's a bit slower for him, so you're not going to get that insane timing on the Puck to deal with the BKBs on hand. So there's going to be a big window there for Zoomers to play with once that's up and running. The side of Undying right now, though, are building up nicely. They've got the BKB up in Tomato. They smoke up once again, and they do have all their spells up except for Soulbind, but that's only 8 seconds off, so they could look for angles here.
Well, luckily for Zoomers, it looks like Ocean has broken the smoke. They haven't actually caught him out either. Ocean. Just juking and jiving, and he's going to make his way out of there. I cannot say the same for Husky.
Sammy.
Oh, Sammy! Alright, that's a way better target. He has Reincarnation up in 1 second, and he barely gets it. Just in the nick of time, but it's not going to matter. There is no help coming in. He is just gone. Undying, they have so many choices to what to go for, but it looks like they found Gunner. They have time. Yeah, they do. Fire Blast is there. And Undying, I think it's time to Roshan. They rush for it.
Oh yeah, they've got really good Roche taking here. Rack can kind of play against that with a Black Hole if he wants to, but he's on the opposite side of the map, so he's not going to be able to contest, and that just leads to a very easy Roche coming out for Undying. You're going to have to deal with 2 lives in Tomato, technically 3 if you want to play around with the Battle Trance as well. And Tomato's timings are just so on point. He's got the Sange for more stat resist. He's got the Basher coming up soon, going back for the SNY down the line. So you're hitting a lot of big spikes with the Troll, and it comes down to Midas Radiance versus Battle Fury Troll. And the Troll still wins out that farming game. So despite Sammy getting that space out, it just didn't keep up pace with Tomato's own farm. And that is causing issues again. Every single time we see Tomato have that advantage, he's just able to use that gold lead in a very big way.
And he does. Going straight into the Bashiyasha. He wants to finish off that SNY. Before that, though, into the mid-tier 2 tower they go. Gunnar still trying to work towards his own BKB at the moment. It's been a very rough time. He basically just needs a recipe, but even then, you're not going to really be able to offer much for your team, in the way of damage at least. 4 Zoomers, meanwhile, going to go to the other side. However, Brawl does see them and does get a coil off to lock down the big boy. It's going to be Sammy. He's going to try and survive the best he can, but Saberlight comes in with a Pit of Malice. Now the Soulbind as well. That'll be your Wraith King gone once. They'll probably find him a second time very easily. They have the Battle Trance up, and they'll just chase him down. They won't even need the ulti from the Troll. Ocean, he's trying to kill off one. He's not going to get Saberlight either. Saberlight gives him the tip. And they tried to just farm the Dire Triangle, assuming that Undying would stick around in that mid lane, but that was not the case. They were under vision for a second, and Bryle immediately capitalizing on it. It just gets worse and worse for 4 Zoomers as time goes on.
Yeah, they're just not finding the angles. There was a bit of a mistake from Ocean. He missed the swashbuckle. If they at least found Saberlight, it wouldn't hurt as much, but they're just not finding anything in these trades. And Tomato just gets to get some curries down, and even Brax.
Oh, he's been caught out. He's going to try and run away, but there's no chance in hell. It's kind of reminding me of Game 1 now. Definitely a better start for 4 Zoomers, but in terms of just the pure domination now from Undying, they've got the Ags up on Brawl to boot. How do you even fight back if you're 4 Zoomers? I mean, it seems like you're still waiting on a pretty big black hole, but we haven't seen one quite yet.
And it's just nearly impossible to get that big black hole now, even with BKB for Enigma. You have to catch the puck every single time, or fight while Dream Coil's down to ensure that your black hole goes off, even with the BKB up, and that's not the easiest thing to pull off. And they catch Gunnar.
Uh-oh. Dream Coil there, he BKBs, it's not going to help him out too much. Maybe just avoiding some damage. Battle Trance from Tomato, Gunnar, he might have time, and he does. The BKB does in fact block out enough damage, and the TP away in the tree line is going to work out for him as well. So that's your debut of the Axe Dream Coil, not really working out for Undying. I guess you could maybe call that a win because he forced a BKB charge, but I'm sure for Undying they won't be too happy about missing that. Still, they found a bigger target. They found Sammy. They don't have Battle Trance for this fight. Brax, he's going to pop the black hole from the low ground. They've got 1 life, however. Tomato, not going to care about the black hole, keeps going. He still has the Aegis, and he kills off Sammy so darn easily. Now he loses that Aegis, but it really won't matter. Pit of Malice is down. They lock down the Ember. They want the kill. The stroke and fade out. Can he get out of there? He'll try to Remnant away. He's going to throw Remnants left, right, and center. It just may not matter. He's being chased down by Saberlight. Bryle, meanwhile, kills off Brax. They get Gunnar as well. There's Husky also being caught out now on the Enchantress. And it's just surgical gameplay again from Undying. A double killer for Bryle. And I'm really starting to wonder how they fight back now. It's just looking a little bit too easy for Undying.
It's difficult for Zoomers. Like, it's easy for Undying, but very difficult for Zoomers to kind of turn around. They have to play high ground with the threat of black hole, save up for that BKB on the Enigma, try their best in kind of getting that spacing out, and just use the high ground advantage that they do have with their team fight. It's just that they have to land bigger black holes. Like, if you lock in the troll, it's just not enough. Tomato doesn't care. Especially, well, last time he didn't care because he had Aegis, but in general, he doesn't care because there's always going to be backup from Undying to help him deal with that. And Zoomers just need to find the right angles coming out. They need to try and stall out the game a little bit more for the Wraith King to become a menace. It doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. I think they need like 10 to 15 more minutes, and that's a lot of time they're going to have to hold up against, where Undying is already starting to chip away at these tier 2s. Once you lose this top one, you're only going to have 1 left, although they roll in.
Well, they roll in, but it's only Ocean and Brax. They're just trying to delay this tier 2 tower going down, but while that's happening, down a bot lane, they found Gunnar. He BKBs up, Dark Rift in from Saberlight. They don't even need him. They just took the tier 2 top tower and they come right down for the bottom tier 2. And they're going to force a buyback here. Gunnar might not really have a choice in the matter unless he's willing to just give up Arax.
I love that little play coming out from Undying. They use the Fortify to ensure the Dark Rift goes off and just straight into this push. They don't have Black Hole to defend with as well for a full minute. This is going to be difficult.
Wraith Fire Blast not going to help. There's your tier 3 tower gone. It looks like they don't want to go... No, Undying, I'm sure they do want to go for the Rax. They're just waiting for the right moment. Ryle doesn't have Dream Coil up.
Oh, no.
Sammy, that's one life. They have Battle Trance. Disarm is there, but it won't matter. Tomato just pops his BKB, gets the bash off, kills off Sammy in his own base. No buyback on the Wraith King, and now Gunnar has been caught as well. He'll die again. The tips are out. They might just call it at this point. They're going to buy back on Gunnar again. Triple kill out for Tomato, however. Maybe they find the troll line. Battle Trance is out in time. The Soulbind is there from Moon Meander. It's an ultra kill out for Tomato. They're diving the fountain now. GG's been called. That'll be a 2-0 victory out for the side of Undying in very dominant fashion. And that'll be the first grand finalists of the BTS Pro Series Season 5.
Yeah, just spectacular plays coming out from Undying here. Game 1 was fairly quick. Game 2 is not that much longer. 27 minutes, 51 seconds. I think Game 1 was like 26:40. So it only really shifted by a minute for the Zoomers. They did have a stronger draft this time around. They had some answers here. You saw Gunnar work his mid lane a little bit better. He hit some nice spikes, found some pretty good pickoffs to play with, but they couldn't follow up. And Undying just managed to get that same space out for Tomato. He just went into the Battle Fury. And when you look at that core matchup, Wraith King rushing a Midas into Radiance just doesn't match the same pace as a Troll free farming with an early Battle Fury. So it's one of those issues, again, where Tomato just managed to get all the space in the world. They had these great counter picks from Undying to deal with the early Pangolier. Grimstroke was a really strong response this time around. And they just had all the answers. So Zoomers, unfortunately, not going to get that free ticket into the Grand Finals. Undying will be set up there in the last spot. Zoomers will have another chance as they go into the lower bracket. We'll see who their opponent is in the next series.
Fair enough. With that, of course, we are going to move on to our next series of the day between the side of No Ping Esports and Penta Ace. And I believe we will be roughly 15 minutes away from that first game starting. With that, it is MLP, Dota, and JohnXFire. We'll be back as soon as we do have the first game draft up.